Okay, let me see. I think I got this set up here. Looks like it anyway. This is Fraley's. Let me see. I got a pop-up message here, and I can't. Let me move this. Let me read this real fast. It says there's. I'm not sure quite what that means. Anyway, we're broadcasting, and that's the main thing. And I see I'm on air, so I'm going to go ahead with this. Hopefully, we have no bad luck and bad technical issues on here. Anyway, I had a little message and I didn't quite understand it because I'm not a technical savvy individual for the most part. I mean, I know minor things on here. I've been using the computer for a long time and broadcasting for a while on here, but still, I'm not a computer genius, or not the worst, but not the best either. Well, not even, probably even halfway in between, but I know enough to get by on here anyway. Minor things anyway, but anyway, that's not the issue what I want to talk about. This is Fraley's World Insight blog for a Saturday night, 12:30 to 17, and it's 7:43 p.m. right here where I'm at in Siloam Springs. So let's get started with the action. No, I'm not a ball game play caller, although the Razorbacks played a really great game today against, I'm not sure what they were ranked, but I know they were in the top 25 and I believe in the top 20. But we played Tennessee and we were behind all the way through the game until the end, the last couple of minutes or so. Well, actually, we tied it up. And we were able to go into overtime against Tennessee, and we pulled it out in the end, and that's what matters. And even though we didn't play the smartest game during the end, made a few mistakes, but we built up like an 8-point lead and was able to hold off Tennessee at the very end, and we should have won it a lot easier. And let me get this technical thing off here again. Okay. Anyway, we won, and that's what matters. And our RPI ranking is really great this year. So when it comes time for tournament invites at the end of the year in March, we'll get an invite. As long as we keep winning, of course, and finish off strong and everything like that, and do good and decent in the conference. And we should make the tournament with these, I think. That's just me. I'm no expert on this, but anyway. And what else? Might as well stick with the sports first. I know most news and stuff usually start off with the news and then the weather and then the sports. But I'm starting off. I'm not really news. I'm just somebody making more like commentary or editorializing something. So that's basically what I do on here, give my own opinions about stuff while bringing up the news. Anyway, we got a new coach, Chad Morrison, or was it Chad Morris? Sorry, not really unknown in coaching circles, but he's not a household name either. He's somebody that used to coach at Clemson. He's similar to Gus Malzahn, which Arkansas wanted at first, not me, because I saw what the trouble was the last time he was here. And I'm not totally blaming it on him, but he would have never been an assistant at Arkansas if he wasn't able to recruit Mitch Mustang and a bunch of other, some quality football players from Springdale, Arkansas, the high school, which I got to sub at one time. Pretty close to that period too, and plus some other guy named Williams, who I think he did pretty well at UCLA, or was it USC? See, I done forgot him. Wasn't that important to me? But one of the two, both of them ended up transferring there anyway. And the Razorbacks went on to greater things. And there's that dang technical issue again. We get that off here. Anyway, Chad Morris, supposed to be a really good offensive coach. He didn't do so well at SMU, though. He was only there 3 years. And he had a 7-5 record, and their team made the bowl game. And I'm not sure what the outcome of that was, but I didn't. But he's an unheard of name. He's not a household name. But he was at Clemson when Clemson did really well. And Clemson won the national championship. And now they're trying to get this other guy. And let me think. Chavis. Yeah, Chavis is the defensive coordinator. That's who they want to get. And he's from Texas A&M. And while he's considered one of the better defensive coaches in college football, his record don't prove that this year, and it didn't today during the bowl game. Was it today or was it yet? No, it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Pretty sure it was yesterday. I think they had 50-something points scored against them, maybe even 60. I don't remember. Anyway, they were able to pull it out against some team. I don't even remember who they were playing. That's how bad it was. And anyway, I just don't think that's a good hire. Morris, I'm iffy about him. I really think he has a lot to prove, and he's not going to be given as much time as Brett Bielema was given, simply because people are tired and frustrated and want to see winning football. So give him 3 to 4 years if he's lucky, and if he can't bring some kind of a winning team in the SEC West, which is almost impossible. I mean, it's just that hard. I mean, there's so many other good teams in there too. Texas A&M, Alabama, Auburn, LSU. Then you got the 2 Mississippi State schools. No slouches anywhere in this league. And just saying. Anyway, on with the important stuff. North Korea threatened to sneak attack. Just more blabbing, because I don't think he would do that. I mean, it'd be stupid to say you're going to go attack somebody. Of course, it would be a big shocker. It'd be a surprise because we're so used to him mouthing off and stuff. So if he did that, it would be a surprise, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just think it was just more mouthing because we put great sanctions on him, and sanctions on North Korea and Kim Jong-sun or whatever his name is over there in North Korea, that little fat dude that's a tyrant and dictator and communist egomaniac. Anyway, and it was it Russia or China? One of those two was caught red-handed via pictures, I guess, from spy planes or something. I forget. I didn't get all that story. But anyway, they said that they got picture evidence, and they showed some of the pictures where they were selling or giving aid in North Korea by selling them fuel or maybe just giving it to them. And some people say coal too, and we're supposed to sanction them and keep them from getting that simply because they've made so many threats and been launching those interballistic rockets. Old Rocket Man, that's what Trump calls him. And anyway, I'm tired of blabbing about him. Something's going to happen over there sooner or later. Hopefully later than sooner, but it might happen sooner. Who knows? Well, more stuff's happening today, and Iran in Iran, you got protesters protesting against the government because the economy's bad and food prices are rising, and partly because they don't like the policies of the Iranian Khomeinis or whatever, the big wigs that run the Islamic big wigs that run the country. They don't really allow free elections. I mean, those big wigs put in who they want to be president and let people vote for them from their choices, not from the people's choices. So that gives you kind of an idea of what's going on in that department. So they've got people protesting against that and other reasons, but the government and the Khomeini or whatever his name, the big leader, I believe they call him Khomeini, and he's one of the main leaders and religious leaders, Islamic, whatever you want to call him. He what was I going to say here? He puts in who he wants to run, and then the people get to choose from his candidates. So anyway, I was going to say something else, but man, it flipped out of my head so fast that I couldn't catch it. Just like a fly. I got to be with Bruce Lee and catch a fly between my fingers to catch a thought sometimes, because I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older. But anyway, next I wanted to comment on the state of the United States. There's basically two schools of philosophy when it comes to running the United States. There's a Democratic, liberal, psychopathic, bullcrap, socialist, communist, whatever you want to call them, the dim-witocrats with their crazy liberal ideas. Well, this country pretty much is run by two basic philosophies, and you can disagree with me or agree with me, whatever you want to, but it depends on what your ideology is and your philosophy and your thinking and opinion on the deal. But there's two basic philosophies when it comes to economics, and you're trying to stimulate the economy to make it better, improve it for the American society and the people in general. And one of them is a philosophy that Barack Insane Obama, Obama, whatever his name is, had 8 years to put into the government, and it was called a stimulus. Only it was the kind of stimulus where he just printed up money and basically got us in debt and printed up, it was billions. I think one of them was 84 billion, and then another one might have been another 84 billion, or was it 700 billion? I forget. But anyway, it was quite a bit, and it got us in debt. When it was all ended, we were, 22, 23, 24, 25, $26 trillion in debt. Something like that. I mean, you can check on that, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. I can guarantee you that. And his kind of philosophy was to go in debt to do that. And basically, what that does is drain the economy to the point to where there is no investment, there is no growth in the economy, there's no jobs, there's no production as a means to make money or trade or anything else like that. Instead, people are too busy trying to catch up, get out of debt, and that's basically what the government does, and that's why you have a 26 trillion or whatever it is, 20-something trillion deficit like it is. And things will never get any better. Unemployment rate is bad, over 7%, I think it was. I think that's a pretty accurate number. You might want to check that out too, but I think it's somewhere in that neighborhood, 7, 8 to even 10%. And They also put out a lot of fake numbers and fool society, fool the people in general, but not everybody's fooled so easily. There's a lot of people that were the unemployment rate. There's a lot of people that were looking for jobs that ended up just giving up, and then they took their numbers out of the equation. If you put their numbers in the equation, then it probably ended up being about unemployment rate probably ended up being about 10% or better, maybe even worse than that. A lot of those people just gave up and started going to school and hoping something would be better in the future. and instead, they get themselves way, way, way in debt, kind of like what I did. And that's why I'm behind right now. But that's okay. I'll get out of it. I've got some good things came out of it too, so I ain't gonna get into all of that, but I am gonna explain these two philosophies. And basically, that philosophy keeps you in debt. You don't have any jobs. Your wages never seem to get better. You're always behind, struggling to make ends meet. If you got a house and a home, if you're that lucky. If you're not, you're probably living in your basement with your parents or something, letting them give you a handout, and your daddy-in-law or your mom-in-law or whoever's getting tired of messing with you, your daddy or mom, telling you better get out and get you a job or something when you can't even hardly make ends meet, even living with them. So it's basically just a bad deal. Nobody has any money. They can't invest, so they can't. So big companies can't afford to expand and create new jobs, so that other people will have jobs, which creates unemployment. And that's pretty easy to see, in my opinion. And that's one side of the equation. That's number one. That's part of the one. That's the one philosophy, and it just don't work. Now the other philosophy is President Trump. Now, I think this is smart. Other presidents have tried this, but not to the extent that Donald Trump has. He's put forth a record tax reform system that not only helps the poor and the middle class, but helps the richer up people too, the high-flanking people. Of course, I'm down here and they're way up here, but it motivates everybody, and here's how it does it. What it does is it cuts the bigwigs' taxes, the people way up here, and they see some positive signs. So what do? They have more money in their pocket, so they go out and invest it into different businesses, or even expand, or even start bigger businesses and stuff. Everything just prospers more. They see a more positive vision for the country and themselves. They figure they can make money, and as a result, they're able to create more jobs and more businesses and expand and stuff, and creating more jobs and stuff for the people. Middle class start getting bonuses and stuff, and their level of society rises too, and they're able to have better lives and do things that they want to do, and buy homes and new cars or whatever, and then which also increases, and as everything expands and investments go up, the poorer people, there's more jobs, so their economic outlook's better too. I mean, they have more money, they have more food, they have they're able to properly clothe and feed their kids and send them to school, and cuts down on a lot of crime and stealing and other stuff too. It just all the way around, everything just looks a lot better. And instead of borrowing and going in debt, this kind of system actually grows the economy. It actually uh, is given a push to make things better. I mean, it's like the Democrats view as a negative, and this is a positive. This is a positive charge. It's just like an igniter. It's like a fuse being lit, and once it goes off, boom! Everything just, it's a big bang. I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory, but it's like the Big Bang Theory. Everything just starts coming to life. It's just, well, let's put it in this term. It's more like the creationist theory. I mean, everything starts creating. You create one thing, it creates something else. It's like you do one good thing, and then it's like cause and effect. You do a good thing, it causes something else good to happen. You give a guy a break, and he has more money in his pocket. Yeah, he's probably going to spend it or save it or maybe even invest it. When they do that, it not only creates jobs and businesses, but it just, when one guy prospers, somebody else is going to prosper, because it's just like a positive charge, of energy coming from one source to another, to another, to another. It's like a chain reaction. It just goes all around, and everybody benefits, not just the poor, middle class, but the upper classes as well. And of course, this kind of system is good, and especially in my way I've been looking at it and studying it, and everything, it's all working out good for me for when I retire, because then I won't have to pay any when I get off the tax system and retire in 2025 or even late 2025, somewhere in there. It's what I got planned. I don't mean exactly the date, but that's what I've got planned anyway. Then I'll be drawing my Social Security, and I won't have to worry about paying that kind of tax, at least from the way things are now. I'm not saying if something comes along and a better job or something, I might stay unretired for a while if I'm making more money and got a better outlook and got a better job. But if not, then I'll retire. I mean, I like what I do now, but it's not making me rich or anything. I'm not making any really big money. I mean, I'm a lower level, but I won't get into that. I'm not in here for me. I'm just in here to explain two different philosophies. Anyway, you have a negative and you have a positive, and I gave you the little details. And on the positive side, and on the conservative side, instead of going in debt, this situation is where somebody gains, and instead of being behind, you're ahead. it's like your lifestyle. Instead of being in debt all the time and trying to having to catch up and never being able to save any money, you're able to stay ahead. And instead of going in debt to get something, you might even actually have the cash saved up to get something that you want, like say a new car or down payment on a house or something. I'm just saying, there's just two difference in philosophies. And to me, I'd rather be on the positive side. I don't want to be on the negative side. I've been on the negative side, and it's never worked for me, and it's never gotten me anywhere, and it still hasn't gotten me anywhere. I like the positive side, and if you keep your head right, stay on the positive side, and get your mind right, and get it out of the gutter like the liberal negatives. I'm going to call them negatives too. But then there's a more positive outlook and better things happen. But you got to make wise decisions and not do stupid things, and not be gullible and be deceived into doing other things. So I'm just giving you a rundown on the two different philosophies there. And what else was I going to talk about? I think you got the rundown on that, but Trump is pretty much is a man. You can say what you want to about him. He may be a little mouthy, but the guy knows business. And while he's not a politician, he's mastered the art of controlling the politicians. There's none better. This guy, he should have a doctorate in controlling. I don't know. He would probably make a great psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever you want to call it. But he's just a mastermind at what he does in business and now in politics. He beat out the best in the world in politics too. So he's not only an economic genius, the guy is a political genius, and he's proved that over and over. And you can say what you want to about him, but he knows how to get things done. And, he was great with controlling the media too. He pretty much shuts the media down by simple denial. They blame him for something, he denies it. And the people would rather listen to him, even though he is a little mouthy. They kind of like his style. He's similar to Andrew Jackson, and even Reagan was kind of outspoken and and had kind of a mouth, but he was in a more respectful manner. But him and Reagan, and probably John Kennedy, since 1960 or 61 when he got in there, are probably the three best presidents in the last 40, 50, 57 years or so, what do you want to say. And before that, I don't know. I'm not sure about Eisenhower because I wasn't alive during that period, and I probably could read up on it and find out more about him. But I think Trump's the best president during that era, during this era since then, and he proves it every day. And in just over a year's time, he's got taxes through. Didn't quite get the getting rid of old dumbass Obamacare, but he did get rid of the mandate, forcing people to have to buy insurance and putting a fine on it, basically just a tax. And that should take effect, he said. This is what he said about February, so I'll have to change a few things around because I'm spoiled with getting that tax return every year, and I'm so used to doing it that way. I've been lucky I haven't had to really pay anything in. I've always been in a category or tax, what you call it, bracket or whatever you want to call it, where I didn't have to. It just always ended up that way. And but things will change after this year. I'll probably get some back this year, but next year I'll have to. What I'll do is I'll probably just start saving some back, take a percentage of it or something every month, and just save it back, and it'd be just like it is now. Only I was kind of spoiled on getting that money back, but I do like the idea of getting. I figured it up, and it's close to a couple hundred extra a month that I can get. 'Cause not only was federal taxes go away, but state and local, or even property taxes could go away. And I think I'll just take the state because I don't have that much property anyway. I have a couple cars, but I mean, I'll probably get more back, but get more back, but just not having to pay state taxes. So that's probably how I'll get it, because that's one of the points in this tax system that'll cut out state or even property taxes as well. But you have to choose between them. You have to choose either state or the property tax. And I think I'll choose the state taxes, because I forget how much it is each month, but I won't go into that. But Um, Also, it increases the tax credit for children. Like if you instead of getting like $1,000 back for a kid, it doubles it. You get like 2,000 back. So you might want to read up on it and think about your situation and figure out how you're going to do it and figure out uh, just uh, what your situation is and see how it works out for you. And I guess we'll all learn as we go along and we file for our taxes. I guess you have to go through something once or twice to really get the full brunt and understanding of it. And I think that's what I'll have to do too. But anyway, I hope I didn't bore you on all this. But to me, it's interesting because it affects my life. And that's why I like to stay informed and up on things, because you can, sometimes it does directly affect your life economically and not that I'm big into material assets, because I'm not, but there are a lot more things you can do if you got more money in your pocket. And that's just common sense. That's why I like this one philosophy, the positivism, better than I do the negativism of them woodocrats. I like to be ahead of the game, not behind. It's a lot harder to play when you're behind. It's a lot easier to play when you're ahead. I mean, you can just, but you don't want to relax. When you are ahead, you don't want to relax. You want to keep grinding it out and staying ahead. And the more you get ahead, the more you'll be ahead. And I want that for a long, extended period of time. I want to make, economically wise, I want to make better decisions that'll benefit me down the road, because I'm not getting any younger, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you when you get older. A lot of people, no offense against younger people, but this society's totally different from what it was when I was growing up. It's give me now, and don't give nothing back. You know what I'm saying? Because even John F. Kennedy said, think not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Something in that. Now, that's not the exact words probably, but it's. I know a lot of you can adhere to this with me. I mean, that's nowadays it seems like it's entitlement. They think that they ought to be able to be given everything. So I just think like I got to make better choices and decisions to better myself down the road. If not, then nobody's going to give a crap to this. When I get too old, they'll throw me in some old folks home somewhere, and I won't like that, and they won't like me either, because I'll be cranky and I'll be trying to escape. That's the truth. I saw how my dad was done and didn't like it. Wasn't nothing I could do about it though, and it was probably for his betterment. So, with all this said, I'm going to get off from here, but I think you can see the gist of what I was talking about. And I hope that your situation ends up good, because I think Trump's got your back, and I think Trump's doing what's best for the country. And you Democrats can think what you want, but if you think things are worse now than they were when Obama was in, then you got to be mentally messed up. You need to go have your heads checked. Anyway, I'm going to sign off from here. And this is Fraley's World Inside.